I've been a cop for 11 years. I don't rattle easily. I want to get that on record before I say any of this, because what I'm about to describe still makes me feel like I'm losing it. Even now, a year and a half later. Marcus and I were partners for 6 years. You start finishing each other's sentences after that long. You know when the other guy's off before he says a word. Marcus had this thing where he'd hum under his breath when he was nervous. These little tuneless scraps of melody. And after enough years, I started hearing it even when he wasn't in the room. The night he died, I heard it just before the shooting started. We were executing a warrant on a warehouse in the south end of Braddock, outside Pittsburgh, on a cold Wednesday in October. The target was a distribution point for a fentanyl operation we'd been building a case on for almost 2 years. 4 suspects were believed to be on site. It was supposed to be clean. I don't know what made me look at my phone. I've thought about this moment more times than I can count. There was a buzz in my vest pocket. It could have waited. It should have waited. For 1 second, I pulled my focus from the left corridor, the one Marcus was covering. That second is the only thing I can't give back. The gunfire started from somewhere above us. 3 suspects opened up from a mezzanine level we hadn't clocked on the building schematic. In the chaos, I lost track of Marcus for maybe 8 or 9 seconds. By the time I got to him, he was already down. 2 suspects died in the firefight. A third was wounded and arrested. The 4th got out through a loading dock before backup sealed the perimeter. He was the one we needed most, the thread that would have unraveled the whole operation. Marcus died 2 hours later. I was in the waiting room when they told me. I remember the sound the chair made when I stood up. I don't remember much else. The case was reassigned. The 4th suspect, a man named Doyle, stayed in the wind. 8 months later, I got pulled back in as a consultant on a surveillance job. Low stakes. Sit in a car and watch a building. I figured I could manage that. The first night was quiet. I was parked on Clement Street just after 11 o'clock, diesel heater running low, coffee going cold. The building across the street was a machine parts distributor. 1 light on the 2nd floor, no movement. And then the radio crackled. Not my radio, my personal handheld, sitting on the passenger seat, switched off. I could see the power button, the little red indicator light that was not lit. What came out of it was static. Then, underneath the static, a rhythm, tuneless, stumbling, 3 or 4 notes cycling with no shape. I sat completely still, hands flat on my thighs. I told myself it was interference, old batteries, signal bleed from nearby equipment. I told myself this for about 4 minutes. Then, I picked the radio up and the humming stopped the moment my fingers touched it. I went back the next night. The temperature had dropped. Fine mist off the river, the kind that gets into everything. I was parked in the same spot. Nothing happened for the first hour. Then the passenger seat shifted. Not the way it shifts when someone sits down. More like the way it compresses when weight settles in slowly. Something lowering itself with great care. I felt it through the frame. The springs, the creak of the mechanism. The temperature inside the car dropped. The kind that hits your sinuses. I turned my head. The seat was empty. The mist pressed against the windows, but the air smelled like Marcus. That specific cedar soap he used, the brand I gave him a hard time about because the bottle had a picture of a mountain on it, and Marcus had never once been camping. I said his name out loud. The mist on the driver's side window began to move. Not from breath, from inside the glass, from within the condensation already there. Letters. They formed slowly, deliberate. D-O-Y-L-E. Then, beneath that, a cross street. My throat closed. The muscles seized, and I sat there trying to swallow, and my heart was doing something I'd never felt it do. This hard, lurching pattern. like it was trying to move the furniture in my chest. I took a picture of the glass. The image came out blurred. In the blur, you could almost read it. Almost. I wrote down what it said, in the handwriting of a man with shaking hands. Here's the thing I keep coming back to. Marcus never wrote. Not clearly, anyway. His handwriting was a disaster. This cramped sideways scrawl that I used to read back to him out loud just to watch him get annoyed. I'd teased him about it for years. But those letters on the window were perfect. Every one of them clean and even and precisely spaced. The way a careful person writes when they want to make sure they're understood. The way someone writes who is no longer in any hurry. That bothered me more than the radio, more than the smell, more than any of it. I ran the cross street that night anyway. The address corresponded to a storage unit facility on the edge of the industrial district. Pedestrian gate unlocked. I went in with my weapon drawn, phone flashlight cutting through the dark between the rows. Unit 42, 1. Side door unlatched. Inside, a cot, a camp stove, a duffel with fake identification and cash. And on the floor, in a circle around the cot, photographs. Dozens, face down. I turned one over and the cedar smell hit me like a wall, so strong my eyes watered. Surveillance stills, booking photos, crime scene prints, all marked, all showing men connected to the operation still at large. One face I didn't recognize. Young, maybe 25, gray jacket. I called it in. 3 days after backup processed the scene, they had Doyle. 2 weeks after that, the man in the gray jacket, a courier, was picked up. The operation was done. There were questions about how I'd found the storage unit. I said I'd been following old case notes. No one pushed hard. People wanted it closed more than they wanted the answer to be complicated. I know I should feel something clean about all of it. Case closed. Thread pulled. Whatever Marcus needed, it's finished. But the cedar smell hasn't gone away. Some nights, it's barely there. Other nights I come home and it's sitting in my apartment like something waiting. I've had maintenance check the ventilation. Nothing. And last week, going through my desk, I found a second page in my notebook. Behind the page where I'd written down Doyle's address. I don't remember writing on it. It's another address. Different part of the city. No name, no date. Just the street and the number in that same clean, careful handwriting. I haven't run it yet. I've been sitting here for 4 days trying to decide if I'm going to.